Okay. Well, hello. Welcome to NACD's second Conservation Coffee. I am Meg Leader. I am NACD's Director of Conservation Programs. Ariel Rivers, who usually runs these coffees, had a prior commitment when this was scheduled, and so she regrets she won't be here for it. She loves the Friends of NACD Friends of NACD, and this is going to be some great presentation. I'm playing host, so I'll be hosting this quick chat today in which we'll hear from two recipients from NACD's Friends of NACD District Grant Program, Hannah Freely of Richland Soil and Water Conservation District in South Carolina, and Rachel Little of Benton Conservation District in Washington. For those not familiar, the Friends of NACD program, which is funded through contributions of individuals in support of NACD's mission, has awarded small grants for creative and innovative conservation district projects since 2020. We expect to open the application period again this month, so stay tuned to eResource and other communication channels for additional information. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone to stay muted during the conversation and that today's chat is being recorded. After we hear from our speakers, we will have an opportunity for questions and answers. You can type your question into the chat and I'll read it out loud, or raise your hand and I'll call in people in turn. I'd also like to point out a few important people who help guide NACD's membership services from the background. We have members of our district and partner relations committee. That's the group that is putting these chats into action. Okay, and I'd also like to point out Caleb Griffin, the Pacific Region representative, is also on the call. He's the one that told you it was being recorded. He provides support to the Friends of NACD program, and he can help answer questions about the grants as well, including how to apply or how to donate to the program. And with that, I'm going to pass it on to Hannah Freely. Sorry, Hannah. And then Rachel. Thank you both for presenting today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here, and I see a couple of names I recognize on the call. Hi, Paula. Hi, Lisa. I know it's like I'm on TV. Hi, Mom. All right, so I'm gonna try to share my screen now and pull up my little presentation. And I believe that I am sharing. So just stop me if the tech stops working at any point. But yeah, my name is Hannah Feely, and I am here to present on the Seed Sanctuary, which was a 2020 National Association of Conservation Districts grant recipient. So I worked for Richland Soil and Water Conservation District until 2022, and I've since moved on to work for Palmetto Pride, which is the South Carolina state affiliate of Keep America Beautiful. And so I'm really here just on behalf of Richland Soil and Water today, and I'm just thankful to have been invited and to get to speak with everyone. So without further ado, let me see, I have my notes on the big screen. Okay. So to provide a little bit of background, Richland County is located right in the middle of South Carolina and also contains Columbia, which is our capital city. The tagline for Richland County used to be uniquely rural, uniquely urban, but I think it still describes the population and setting very well. We have a major city downtown, but not even 20 minutes away, we have, 100-acre farms. And because of that, it was actually always a challenge for Richland Soil and Water to reach every inch of the community. One second. We wanted to really create a program that could cater to everyone, that could increase our overall brand awareness. And before the Seed Sanctuary, our programs primarily catered to farmers, educators, and K through 12 students, but we were really missing something that could apply to the general public. So I will admit the seed sanctuary wasn't the most original idea. It was heavily modeled after Greenville Soil and Water Seed Library, which started, I think, in 2019 and has been very successful ever since. We wanted to create a replica of their program, but we still needed to go through our own research and development process. So we needed to consider funding, which thankfully NACD helped us with big time. We needed to think about locations. So would we be in county libraries like the seed library was in Greenville? We needed a strong volunteer base. That is very crucial to a program like this. And over the years, we've had people who will help out here and there, but you really need a roster of people that you can reliably call upon. And finally, what types of seeds are we going to offer? We considered what grows well in our USDA zones, the seasons in which we'd offer the seeds. What you might offer in spring is different than fall. What folks are interested in and are the most familiar with, that's really important. Most importantly, that we had something for people with maybe a few potted plants on their apartment balcony, or for the folks on those 100-acre farms, something that could apply to everyone. And in terms of goal setting, we hope this program would again increase our overall brand awareness, encourage people to get outdoors, take up home gardening, create pollinator habitats, and finally promoting food security. And I'll recognize it's a pretty big leap to say that by giving someone a packet of seeds, you're providing them with a steady food source, but Richland County does unfortunately have several areas that would be considered food deserts. So this is an important point because on grant applications, we had the ability to say this program was intended to reach across all socioeconomic demographics. And it's important when you're applying for grants that the funds will do that. Okay, so once we received the grant funds, our original plan was to purchase the seed in bulk, pack it ourselves, and house a seed sanctuary location in the Richland County Administrative Building, which is where our office is located. We plan to meet a big demand with huge volunteer events, so we would be ready to launch on the very first day of spring in 2020. So unfortunately, COVID put a damper on our plans, and we had to pivot pretty quickly and come up with a plan B. So we ended up launching not too much off of schedule, but mid-April of 2020 with a seeds by mail option. Folks could request 6 packets of seeds online, and it really took off. I mean, like within an hour, it took off. If anything positive came out of that period, I would hope this program would be that. And I almost think that COVID really helped our program make a big splash. People were already spending time outdoors, and there was even a seed shortage at one point because everyone was starting garden projects. And for us, it was sort of a blessing in disguise, but we quickly became inundated with these seeds by mail requests. Mind you, we did not yet have the volunteer base that we really needed to make this happen. But even though we, again, first viewed COVID as a setback, it really helped spread the word about the program. But the big problem was that I was stuck in my living room with 30 pounds of seeds and no way to safely recruit volunteers to help pack them. So we kind of came up with a volunteer from home solution that really just started off with, I think my now husband was the very first volunteer. I guess you could say maybe he was voluntold, but he was the guinea pig. And for a few weeks, we were able to, just pack and pack and pack, and we shipped as many requests as we could. The good thing, and I'm so incredibly grateful for this, is that postage costs were covered by the county. I don't know that this would have been possible without that, because thinking, you have 2,500 requests, each of those is like $3 to send. That adds up pretty quickly. So that was a huge help that Richland County covered for us. So once restrictions lifted slightly, we were able to start gathering staff and commissioners from our board to help at outdoor packing events. we did this up until the summer and, took a hiatus because it was really too hot to do much gardening. When it was time to ramp up again in the fall, we began receiving requests from the University of South Carolina. There are a bunch of school groups there, and a lot of classes do service-based learning, or in other words, doing community service for course credit. Unfortunately, during that time, a lot of places that they would go to for community service, were not open to the public or had also taken hiatuses. So again, right place, right time for us. We swooped in and got a lot of stuff packed. Eventually, we were able to put out some social media blasts to recruit more volunteers, and we had a good bit of interest. Some folks would volunteer once or twice, but it only took a handful of super reliable and passionate volunteers to help us out in a big way. So I would put together everything they needed to pack seeds for us, drop it off at their house, and then they would text me when they were done. I'd pick them up, drop off more seeds, so on and so forth. And with the really dedicated ones, I mean, they were hitting me up like, where are my seeds? I need more seeds to pack. And I'm like, okay, I'm on my way. But yeah, they were so awesome. And really another unforeseen benefit of the volunteer from home kind of structure we created, many people were still not comfortable being out and about. And a number of people with some sort of disability that may have made them more susceptible to COVID reached out to us for help, or they wanted to help. So, thinking again about how a program can reach every corner of your community. And this created a way for those with disabilities to really give back. And that was, again, didn't think about it, but it was a great, benefit that came out of this program. So eventually it became safer to hold larger volunteer events. We were able to then apply for additional funds from Dominion Energy to expand our pop-up seed sanctuary option. We would table at festivals, farmers markets, community events, and even outside of our office building, which is where people in Richland County might come to pay car taxes and business licenses, that type of thing, getting a really interesting group of people coming into our building to see us. So that was fun. And then we were also able to install a permanent pop-up location at the Richland Library in Eastover, which is a very rural and predominantly African-American community on the outskirts of Richland County. And because it is such a rural area, not everyone there has access to high-speed internet to request seeds online or to find out about our events. So we wanted to make an extra effort to make sure this program could reach as many people as possible. And in this bottom picture, you can actually see Richland County Councilwoman Cheryl English, who is the representative for the Eastover area. She attended the ribbon cutting at the Seed Sanctuary pop-up, and she is just a great supporter of ours. And we've seen that across the entire county council. They are just so supportive, and it's never a bad thing to have, friends in high places. So again, another unexpected benefit. So I wanted to lay out sort of the operating costs of the program. As you can see, NACD sort of helped us launch big time that first year, and we didn't really know how it would go. We didn't really know what we were doing, and it also did not go according to plan, but it helped us, really get things off the ground, and we were able to apply for larger grants from Dominion Energy in the following years, and we successfully received those. And I'll also say that those amounts listed are only half of what we received. So we were able to apply for some grant funding for the seed sanctuary and some to support our education programs that we have as well. So now that we had a little bit of notoriety, we were able to request a lot more money, and that was great. And just keep in mind that these costs, again, don't include postage, staff time, volunteer time, which, by the way, you can put a dollar amount to that. Let me know if you need more info on it. And this also doesn't include mileage, which really added up with me driving all around the county trying to get everyone their supplies. So that was interesting. But yeah, that's kind of the breakdown of it. And you can see that we've estimated almost 25,000 seed packets have been distributed. Again, that is totally free to the community. And I'm really happy to see these kinds of numbers. And it's been a really great success. So where are we now? 4 years later, we are still hosting volunteer events and pop-up events. We still have the location at the Eastover Library, and we were finally able to establish our plan A, which was having a permanent location inside of the county building. Again, the program continues to be very popular. I'm pictured on the bottom left with Councilman Derek Pugh, who, again, an awesome supporter of ours. He asked us to table, I think, at an HOA event in his neighborhood. Of course, we were there and very happy to be there. So not only were we able to secure funding from Dominion Energy, but at one of the tabling events, a woman actually approached us on behalf of her gardening club, and she wanted us to be the recipient of funds from their annual silent auction. And we were delighted, thinking, you know, we might receive a few $100s, but come to find out it was closer to $10,000. So, I mean, it really just felt like people were throwing money at us at this time. Unexpected. It was just so awesome to have this type of community support. And it did so much for us in terms of brand awareness. I mean, without this program, you know, this garden club would not know about us or know that we would greatly benefit from having that type of funding. So, and this is, again, on the topic of brand awareness, this is what public relations, you might be able to call a clean sweep, getting picked up by coverage on all 4 local news stations. And y'all, it's been like this the past 4 years. Like, anytime there's anything like that, you know, people want to hear about it. And people, I think in general, are just begging for good news. And this program's, you know, the perfect fit for that. And it's just a case of being really in the right place at the right time. And these are some of our happy customers that are spreading the word on social media. So they only helped our program continue on and on. And again, so many awesome people have reached out to us, you know, thanking us for our seeds, thanking us for, you know, doing a program like this. And I believe that's all I have for y'all today. Again, this project was made entirely possible by NACD, and it took off beyond our wildest dreams. So here is the contact information for Richland Soil and Water. Again, I'm here on behalf of them today, so I would reach directly out to them for any clarifications. But that's all I have for y'all today. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Rachel. And if you do have any questions, put them in the chat. Or sorry, Hannah, apologize to both of you. I'm just not getting names straight today. For everybody, if you've got questions, please put them in the chat, and we'll get to the questions after Rachel's presentation. Rachel, is there anything you want to say before I start the video?
Yes, actually, I'd like to give some context first, and we'll watch the video last, if you don't mind.
Oh, that sounds great.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. My name is Rachel Little. I work for Benton Conservation District in Washington State. So leaping to the diagonal corner opposite across the country. To give you a context of place, if you imagine that the state of Washington is roughly a rectangle and the Cascade Mountains run north-south through the middle of that, the center of that rectangle, we are just on the eastern side of that mountain range, but down low at the bottom edge of the rectangle near our southern neighbor, Oregon. So that's kind of where I'm talking to you from today. And I just really want to thank the Friends of NACD for their support of our program. We launched the first ever Agriculture and Sustainable Energy STEM Career Academy. So I think it's really interesting that paralleling with Hannah, the Friends of NACD grant has been foundational in helping us to start an initial program and launch this initial program to serve a need in our community. And we found this this inaugural launch was so successful that our partners are really excited and already talking about continuing the program into the future. So the Friends of NACD grant really helped us overcome that initial hurdle. And now we have the partnerships, the experience behind us to really keep this program successful and moving forward. So let me describe a little bit in more detail. The Agriculture and Sustainable Energy STEM Career Academy, long handle, we call it STEM Career Academy for short, is really a 4-day event to orient high school students to rewarding local careers in agriculture, energy, and natural resources. We have a great pool of local students' talent, but a lot of times they think that they need to leave our communities to enter into satisfying STEM careers, science and technology careers. And so we really wanted to put that myth to rest and let them know that there were family supporting, rewardable STEM careers here locally. The students who participated in this first STEM Career Academy for us represented 11 different high schools in 6 different school districts, including public schools, private schools, and even home-based schools. Students of color were represented at levels reflecting our local community, and 1/4 of the students were female. So Benton Conservation District worked with our sister neighboring CDs to help recruit students from a wider area. And Friends of NACD grant funds were used to help purchase event materials and supplies, assist with event costs in partnership with other organizations, and to cover some CD staff time and travel. So it was 4 days. On the very first day, students received their own set of safety gear. We wanted to emulate the experience of what that might be like on the job, being responsible for your own safety gear at work. So students received hard hats that were provided by Energy Northwest, which is one of our local employers. And the Career Academy really consisted of 3 pillars. There were hands-on build challenges. There were field trips to employer work sites. And then there were also opportunities to talk directly in small groups with employers and hear about other opportunities, whether they be scholarships, internships, or opportunities for additional education. So these hard hats were given to students on the very first day, and each partner employer or work site shared a decal representing their organization with the students, and then the students promptly collected the decals and started putting them on their hard hats, very much like you might see at an actual work site. So I'll share with you the decal from Benton Conservation District incorporated that conservation C into a teardrop, water drop shape, and the caption at the bottom says "Working Water." So let's see, in one session, a panel of experts explained to students how they use drone technology across multiple different career fields. A lot of high school students are interested in high tech, but don't necessarily realize how technology informs modern agriculture, modern conservation, and really natural resource management. So we were really excited to put together this drone technology panel to show how local careers use drone technology in precision agriculture, in conservation efforts to count salmon spawning reds in local rivers, and in our local public health authority to combat mosquitoes, for example. We're really lucky in this community in that we have lots of great partners to work with, including Washington State University Extension. They have a ag research facility just within a few miles of our conservation district office here. We also have one of only 17 national laboratories that are funded by the federal government to explore new horizons in science and to apply science research to matters of national interest, whether that be national defense or developing new technologies. So at the end of our 4 days, families were invited to a closing graduation ceremony where instead of dressing students in a cap and gown, students wore their hard hats with their different employer decals, decorating those hard hats, and they were draped with a bright orange safety vest like they might wear on the job. So the Academy was hosted by a true collaboration of local innovators in clean energy, in agriculture, and conservation. Benton PUD, that's our local electricity provider, Benton PUD and the Washington Grain Commission served as the anchor financial supporters with partners including Benton Conservation District through the Friends of NACD grant, Energy Northwest, Franklin Conservation District, the City of Richland Energy Services, our Educational Service District 123, Kennewick School District, and Benton REA. Workshops were led by industry experts, including the Pacific Northwest National Laboratory that I mentioned earlier. And thanks to the very generous support of sponsors and partners that we were able to gather into the effort, we found that each student was able to either receive a full scholarship, or if their family had paid for their tuition, they received a tuition rebate at the end of the week. So really quickly before I share the video with you, I'd like to kind of explain what I think are some important takeaway messages from our experience in bringing this academy to fruition. Use a proven template if possible. We modeled this STEM Career Academy after a long-running successful program that operates in the northern part of our state, and we asked them a lot of questions. So we didn't have to create something new from the ground up. We took their proven successful template and we brought it into our community. We looked at how we could customize it for the specific needs and the specific resources in our local community. And then so we tweaked their template, but that really helped us get a good running start. Another important lesson we learned is share your program with everyone. Really prioritize time and effort on spreading the word about a new program. People can't participate or attend a fantastic program if they don't know about it. We honestly had space for a few more students than actually enrolled, and we think it's just because we couldn't get the word out to as many folks as would have been interested. So we're going to be relying heavily on that word of mouth with students to help us build for more participants in the future. Another sort of take-home lesson, working relationships are vital. We formed an entire committee of community partners, and our idea was to use this as a steering committee to kind of help format and help guide us, thinking that we would have to end up doing all the work. But really, our community partners in the steering committee got so excited that they brought in all kinds of field trips and opportunities with employers, and also funding that we didn't know about until we started talking with them. The thing that's important, though, is those working relationships and having those in place. When you already have a working relationship with a partner organization, when colleagues already know you and you have a proven work ethic with them, they will be eager to work with you on your new projects. Instead of approaching other organizations as a stranger looking for a handout, you can share your excitement about this new idea with colleagues who then may even start offering resources before you even ask. Different entities have different resources, and so understanding the mission of these partner organizations enables me to show them how working together benefits both of us. optimize the skills and abilities of others. When we know each other and work together well, we can complement each other's strengths. Starting something new and big can be scary, but when you share the leadership, others bring ideas and resources that were unknown to you into the mix. So I wanted to share a parent comment. We did a student survey, and we got some really good feedback from the students. Some ways we can improve recruiting in the future, but this parent said the STEM Academy was fantastic. As a parent, it was incredible to see him light up as he's explaining about the drone he made and wanting to recreate his solar-powered car to go faster. Being able to physically go places and see firsthand how things worked in our community will be something he will never forget. What an incredible experience. So to follow up that glowing parent endorsement, Miss Meg, could you launch the video for us?
Absolutely. So at this point, hey, come on. There we go. Everybody should see squiggly lines and yellow circles.
Just some pictures and from our event.
In the first ever Tri-City STEM Academy. Let's check out all they got to do. Students started off their first day at Kennewick High School, learning about hydraulic turbines and how to build one from teachers at Kennewick High and employees at Benton PUD. Students were then given their own hydraulic turbine kit made from plastic containers, CDs, copper wires, and magnets. These homemade hydraulic turbines run on water flow, just like the large mechanical ones they will get to see later. Not before long, everyone traveled to Ice Harbor Dam, where students learned about fish conservation and got to see up close how a large hydraulic turbine generates energy at the dam. Next, they visited CHS Sun Basin Growers, where students saw and went into the tallest structure in Tri-Cities, their grain elevator. However, the best part was the hills of grain that CHS holds from local growers. How cool! Like day one, day two was full of fun. Students started their day at Energy Northwest in Richland, where they toured a demo control room, connected and networked with employees, and even got to tour inside one of their 6 water cooling towers. The rest of their afternoon was spent at Benton PUD. Students got a tour of their campus and witnessed a power line safety demonstration from linemen in the field. Day 3 with PNNL and WCU Tri-Cities was packed with much wisdom from their employees. Let's hear some from PNNL intern Clemmer Nicodemus.
You know, you're in the Tri-Cities. You're in a very different place from where I was when I was a kid, where there weren't many career options. You're in a place, you've got a Pacific Northwest National Laboratory. You've got one of the 17 national laboratories of the United States government in your backyard. Take advantage of that, right? You've got so many people who are itching to be mentors, to be guiding hands and creating the next generation of STEM leaders, right? Events like this are perfect ways to expose yourself to what's out there.
Next, PNNL intern Ikumi Ellis adds some advice for women entering STEM.
Do you have any words of encouragement specifically for young women who are considering STEM for their study and career?
Don't be discouraged. You will feel excluded in classes, not necessarily excluded. I do think there is a lot of effort being made to, in terms of equality and creating an environment that is open and inclusive, but there will be times where it's no one's fault, where you will just feel like an outlier, where you'll be in a class and it's you and a room full of men, and there's nothing you can do about it. Find peers, find other women in STEM, find a group you can talk to, find a professor, a female professor who you can confide in and talk to and visit. And they're never alone. Even if you feel alone, you're never alone. So
STEM Academy students ended their day at Franklin PUD, building and racing solar cars. Day 4 held so much more. Students started the morning at the Richland Parks and Recreation Building with the City of Richland staff to build and fly their very own drones after demonstrations from frequent drone users at the Richland Police Department and a mosquito drone technician. Students then returned to home base early to learn about the importance of cybersecurity. Day 4 concluded with a graduation ceremony to celebrate the students' accomplishments. Thank you to everyone who took part in making the Tri-City STEM Academy possible.
So let's have a round of applause for our speakers and judges.
So I would just like to add, I realize now in looking at that video for folks who are not inside our community, maybe some of those connections between agriculture and energy might not be as intuitive as they are for us here. We live in an area where 3 major rivers come together, and so about 85% of our electricity generation is from hydroelectric power. Our hydroelectric dams on the Columbia and Snake Rivers are large enough also that they support navigational locks and barge transportation that enables our wheat farmers to transport their grain out to Portland and out to the Pacific Rim. So our rivers are very connected with energy production, barge transportation to get grain to market, and also irrigation. We live in a community where we have less than 8 inches of rain, less than 8 inches of annual precip each year. And although most of our wheat production is in dryland wheat, all of our famous Washington apples and other orchards and row crops are all heavily irrigated. So for us, water conservation, salmon passage, salmon recovery, electricity production are all very closely related. So.
Well, thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Hannah. We appreciate this. We do have a few questions. Going back to Hannah, there was a question about getting access to the information by email.
Yeah, in terms of all of this stuff that I went over, I don't know if you'd just like a copy of the presentation, but I can send that to the NACD team. You can also visit the Richland Soil and Water District's website, and they have all of that information on there as well. In particular, all of the seed offerings that we ended up choosing. So, yeah.
If you could, Hannah, can you put the website or the email from your presentation into the chat so people can grab it from there?
Yes, I will.
Thank you. Rachel, there was a follow-up question for you. There was a couple, but they said they were answered in the video. But one question was, did all of the students complete the 4 days? Was there any feedback from them, a change in their direction between when they did the class and now?
That's a great question. Yes, we had no problems with tardiness or absenteeism. All the students attended all 4 days. In fact, on the second day, one student brought a sister with her who wasn't enrolled, but she had heard from her sister how much fun the first day was. So she came to ask if she could join. And as soon as we got a parent permission slip signed, we allowed her to join us. Let's see. We
have you
don't
any
have
idea of terms of impact on these kids and what they think they want to do with the rest of their life since the program completed?
So we asked a lot of them permission if we could follow up in future with them to see where they're actually going in their careers. The student feedback that really stood out to me was, wow, I didn't realize there was so much science in agriculture.
A common answer you hear many places. Well, again, ladies, thank you very much. That's all the questions in the chat. If anyone wants to unmute and ask a question verbally, I know we've gone a little bit over time, but we appreciate you sticking with us. I think both of these were very fascinating. Yes. Thank you all for attending, and ladies, thank you for presenting this. You've got some great projects.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for having us. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for sharing your projects. This is Terry from Oregon. Really appreciated both of those. Thank you.
Caleb, I think you can stop the recording.
All right.